Imagine getting the impossible for just a moment. You lift off. You leave walls, rules, and fear behind you. And for a few seconds, you feel weightless. Free. Then a thought slips in. If I can do this, what else can I do? That question is where the story turns. Because in the myth of Icarus, the real danger is not a monster, or a storm, or the sea. The real danger is the part of us that starts believing limits no longer apply. Most myths warn you about external threats. This one warns you about momentum. About the moment success feels so good that you stop listening. Icarus is not remembered because he flew. He is remembered because he flew too high. And because one choice can turn escape into loss. Icarus is the son of Daedalus. Daedalus is not a king. Not a soldier. Not a god. He is a craftsman. An inventor. A man whose hands can build what other people only imagine. In myth, Daedalus represents human skill at its peak. But skill has a shadow. If you can build anything, you can also embarrass the powerful. You can outthink them. You can make them feel small. And rulers do not like feeling small. Daedalus ends up on Crete, in the court of King Minos. At first, it looks like success. Work. Protection. Status. But the closer you get to a ruler like Minos, the harder it is to leave on your own terms. Because the work is never just work. It becomes leverage. Minos wants control. Over his island. Over his reputation. Over the stories people tell about him. And one story, in particular, must never escape. The Minotaur. A creature half man and half bull, hidden away from the world. A secret like that needs a prison that is more than stone. You need confusion. You need a place that defeats the mind. So Daedalus builds the Labyrinth. Not just a maze, but a design meant to trap anyone who enters. Paths that fold back on themselves. Turns that feel familiar until they don't. And here is the quiet irony. When you build cages, you get very good at imagining how someone might escape them. In some tellings, a hero comes to Crete. Theseus. He intends to enter the labyrinth and kill the Minotaur. But a labyrinth is easy to enter. It is hard to leave. So the story introduces a simple tool. A thread. A way to remember where you came from. Some versions say Daedalus helps provide that solution. However it happens, Minos sees the outcome as betrayal. And Minos responds the way powerful men often do. He removes freedom. Daedalus and Icarus are trapped on Crete. Maybe locked away. Maybe watched. Maybe simply cut off from ships and allies. Because Minos controls the ports. And Minos controls the sea. Escape by water is a dead end. Escape by land does not exist. So Daedalus does what inventors do. He reframes the problem. If the king owns the ground, and the king owns the water, then the only place left is the air. It is a desperate thought. And that is why it is brilliant. The plan sounds impossible. Fly. Not with magic. With materials. Feathers. Wood. Thread. And wax. Daedalus works like a man racing the clock. He tests balance. He strengthens joints. He ties feather to feather until it resembles a bird's wing. He is doing engineering without a safety net. No second chance. No practice run. And while he builds, two different worlds form inside the same room. For Daedalus, the wings are a calculation. Weight versus lift. Wind versus control. Heat versus wax. For Icarus, the wings are a promise. A life without walls. A life where Minos cannot touch him. He is young enough to believe freedom means there are no rules. Old enough to be impatient. And that difference matters. Because the wings are not only a tool. They are temptation. Temptation says, if you can do it, you should. Daedalus knows a harsher truth. If you can do it, you must still control it. Before they leave, Daedalus gives Icarus one rule. It is simple. And it is specific. Do not fly too low. The sea spray will soak the feathers. It will make them heavy. And heavy wings do not forgive mistakes. Do not fly too high. The sun is not a symbol up there. It is heat. And heat softens wax. So fly the middle course. Stay between extremes. Daedalus is not trying to shrink his son's world. He is trying to keep him alive inside it. It is father's rule. And it is also the kind of rule people break the moment it starts working. They step off the edge. And they do not fall. They glide. Air catches under the wings. Feathers hold. Wax holds. And for the first time, Crete is beneath them. The sea opens out like a vast, moving mirror. Waves break far below, harmless and distant. Daedalus flies ahead, steady and careful. He adjusts for gusts. He keeps his height. Icarus follows behind him, heart racing. He feels the air carry him. He feels power where there was fear. It feels like victory. It feels like a new world. And it feels, for Icarus, like proof. Proof that the warnings were only for people who doubt themselves. At first, Icarus stays close. He keeps the middle course. Then he rises a little. Nothing bad happens. So he rises more. And still nothing bad happens. That is how most disasters begin. Not with one dramatic mistake, but with a chain of small successes that make you careless. From below, Daedalus sees him drifting upward. He calls out. He tries to pull him back with words. But wind carries sound away. And pride does the rest. Icarus does not see the sun as danger. He sees it as a target. As proof that he is not just escaping. He is winning. At first, he does not notice the change. The wings still hold. Then the wax begins to soften. Quietly. Like a promise failing. A feather slips free. Then another. The wing loses shape. Air stops catching the way it did before. Icarus tries to correct. He flails with arms never meant to be wings. And the sky, which felt like freedom a moment ago, becomes empty space. He falls. Fast. Uncontrolled. The sea rises to meet him. And then the sound is gone. Daedalus looks back. And the most terrible thing is not the fall itself. It is the silence after. No monster. No king. No labyrinth. Just a father, still in the air, realizing he is alone. He searches. He calls out. But there is no answer. In later tradition, the place is remembered as the Icarian Sea. A name that turns a boy's mistake into a map. A reminder that some lessons are paid for once. And then collected forever. The moral is uncomfortable, but clear. Talent is not enough. Freedom is not enough. Even courage is not enough. Without restraint, the thing that lifts you can also destroy you. Icarus does not fail because he cannot fly. He fails because he confuses ability with invulnerability. The smart path is not the highest one. It is the one you can survive. If you want another myth with a clear lesson, tell me which one to cover next.